Good morning. My name is Emil, and beside me is Janice. I'm not sure if you can see us, but as we don't see ourselves at the moment. So welcome. Thank you for joining us. We're going to talk a little bit about the role of parents in helping their youth develop their potential, make informed choices, and achieve success in their life and their career. So a little bit about us. Both Janice and I have been have worked with the Toronto District School Board as guidance counselors and in leadership positions. We're both parents. Our children are now adults. So what we'd like to do today is explain the education and career life planning program that is going on in Ontario schools from kindergarten to grade 12, so that you as parents can be part of that whole process. We'll talk about the importance of identifying the strengths and interests that your children have to maximize their potential. We'll talk a little bit about current and future job trends, and we hope to help you be good guides and supports for your teens as they prepare for their post-secondary destinations, and that this will inspire some good conversations with your teens about their life and their career. So this is the policy document from 2013 by the Ministry of Education called Creating Pathways to Success. It's a policy document from kindergarten to grade 12 on education and career life planning for all our youth. One of the key foundations in this policy document is this diagram of the 4 dimensions that are involved in the career planning process. And it's the process that we are following throughout our lives. So sometimes as parents, we can be good examples of this planning process. So we're going to talk about these 4 dimensions. Who am I? What are my opportunities? Who do I want to become? And what is the plan for achieving my goals? Those are the questions and inquiry approach that the students are using. So parents and guardians definitely are the greatest influence on the career life choices of their children. So you need to be well informed and competent in helping them. And guidance counselors, teachers, the community, your family are all there to help you with that process. So let us begin with our first dimension, and that is who am I? Janice?
Thank you. I'm going to talk about the who am I, and this encompasses knowing yourself, referring to the child. Students identify their qualities themselves, and it helps to describe who they are and who they think they are. And they can keep checking this back with you and other adults to ensure that they're on the right track. Parents support the development of the strengths, interests, values, and personal style of their children by observing what your teen does well. And you can look at how they do things, how they interact with people, and when you see this, it is important to repeat it back to them and affirm, reinforce their identity, and give them the confidence to keep striving for excellence to reach their full potential. How do you do this, you ask? Well, this is, it can be subjective and objective. Objectively, report cards, subjects and learning skills and work habits, employability skills, demonstration from work, the community involvement hours that are required for students in Ontario, for example. They may have part-time or summer work or just help out the neighbors. Participation in leadership, in sports, in hobbies, their leisure activities. All of these you can, you obviously, they don't want to feel that you're looming over them and constantly watching them to see what kind of characteristics they have. But at the same time, those that you see and you feel need reinforcement, or that you really want to reward them because it's something that's well worth rewarding, this is your opportunity for meaningful interaction. Participation, as I said, in all of these activities, special recognition that they have received when they do participate, such as getting certificates, awards, any kind of reference that they're given for any of the part-time opportunities that they do. And for your opportunity to observe their interests and what turns them on, their passion. Look at their hobbies in more detail. Look at their leisure activities. Are they in sports, music? Do they like to read? What are they reading? Interest surveys are always really interesting. The school often offers them through guidance or other courses, but careercruising.com and myblueprint.ca, which are available in Ontario schools, in many of them especially, will help with the different kind of interest surveys, and they are very valuable. They're experiences, stories of achievements, and what they aspire to. Opportunities for identifying values. Values are so important because jobs can be chosen and selected based on the values that a child or a family have. Values such as family relationships, adventure, variety, money. How do they feel about supporting causes? Have they ever taken leadership? How did they perform when they did? Joining clubs and organizations in school and outside. There's so many opportunities. And what about personal style? How do they actually do stuff? Recognizing their attitude, their character, their personality in everyday activities. Do they willingly help? Are they kind-hearted? Do they, like conversation, interacting? Look at these things and report back. Let them know, affirm. And why? Well, the importance of identifying strengths and valuing experience is because it gives them greater success in future opportunities. As Jennifer Fox points out in her book, Identifying Your Child's Strengths. The character of the child, foundations for personal development and well-being. And that's positive psychology, Martin Siegelman. Check it out. Experience, parents, please encourage experiential learning in and out of school. Specialist high skills major, cooperative education, which I can't speak highly enough of since it was one of the courses that I taught. Volunteering, part-time and summer work. To have holistic understanding of likes and dislikes, strengths and weaknesses for making smart future choices. The whole education and career life planning process actually turns on the self-knowledge of the young person doing the planning, because that helps them move into the areas of learning that they're passionate about.
Thank you, Janice. So the next dimension that we're going to look at is, what are my opportunities? It's quite natural for young people as they know themselves to see what kind of possibilities are available for them. And the opportunities today are just amazing. So we'll talk briefly about futurist predictions of what's coming, some of the skills areas that may be in short supply. And it's really important to look at all pathways. So we'll go through those briefly. So for example, Thomas Fry is a futurist, and one of his key messages is to be future looking, to align and think of what's coming. So you're not just preparing for something that's today, but you're looking at what is coming in the next 10 years, 5 or 10 years. The other part of it is young people do want to take control of this future. The world they are living in now and will be living in is determined by the activity of everybody in it. And they want to take on more opportunities for leadership. So we know in the last 10 years, we've seen amazing amount of technological changes. iPod, iPad, iPhone, you name it. So can you imagine what the next 10 years will be like? Well, some futurists do. So we can know that technology will continue to grow exponentially, and they're replacing a lot of old technology. So there are jobs that are being created and other jobs that are being lost. So some of the fields are things like nanotechnology, can be used in all kinds of fields. Jack Aldrich predicts there'll be 2 million new jobs in this field. So it's one of the newer fields that's expanding. 3D printing is being used already to create skin. We'll be experimenting on creating new organs, but also big stuff like buildings. robotics, genetics, sustainable energy. Now, the key thing to remember here is people, all types of workers are going to be involved in this. People with skilled trades, apprentices, along with accountants and lawyers. So it's the pathway to preparation is not, as many people figure, just university, but it is some kind of post-secondary education and training. Here are some shortages that we are experiencing now and probably will for the foreseeable future, if you pardon my phrase here. Things like construction, the environment, electricity, food processing, ICT, mining, supply chain, tourism, and there's so much more. So it's good to be looking at what are the future predictions and needs in the workplace. So here's the key thing in opportunities, the pathways leading to that. Apprenticeship and skilled trades. Some students will be going directly to the workplace. Are they going as an employee, or are they going to set up their own business as an entrepreneur? There's training in colleges and career colleges and universities all around the world. For many students, the opportunities in the armed forces or reserves is another pathway that they might consider. All in all, the other thing that young people are doing now is taking a gap year after their high school to have a little more experience through volunteering, travel, and work. So help your teen examine all the subject disciplines and types of courses available in your high school so they can choose the courses that will lead to their post-secondary destinations of choice. One of the things we want to highlight especially is apprenticeship and skilled trades. That is an area where there are great needs for more people. It's something that's not going to be replaced. It can't be offshored. There seems to be a shortage not only in Canada but around the world. There are many ways of supporting this process. And once you become an apprentice and complete your journey person program, you can become the owner of in that field, a manager, an entrepreneur, an innovator. It opens many opportunities. So the conversation with your teen, what are the opportunities that excite them? What would they like to explore? What are they already exploring? What's it going to look like 5 or 10 years from now? And what are the opportunities of joining a startup and where there are such expanding opportunities? Imagine starting with Google, say, 10 years ago, and where it's going now, or things like Amazon. So on to the next dimension, and that is, who do I want to become?
And we'll find out. This is the area where making decisions and setting goals becomes very important. You've identified characteristics and strengths and so forth, and you've looked at the kind of jobs that you're interested in, and now it's important to start looking at the demands and the rewards and other features of the opportunities that your child has been exploring. They should be thinking about these and how they connect with those personal qualities that they have and that you've been helping them with. And students should be using a decision-making process to determine their educational and career life goals. You can look at things positively. Maybe that's not a good fit. You may want to discard it. Decision-making can be long, it can be slow, and it should always be well considered. Help your child to look at who they want to become, not just what occupations or jobs they want to prepare for. It should be a good fit. They need to be happy. They should be aiming to be happy, to be waking up every morning and going to work. Holistic includes personal and interpersonal development, along with the knowledge and skills for the various jobs and opportunities that are out there. And keep probing about their dreams and their aspirations. And, whether it's all fitting together, seeing the bigger picture, and support their growth and development through continuous learning in and out of school. Be an example. Take a course. Doesn't have to be for credit. Show that learning is still important in everyday life, no matter what stage of life you're at. Look at us, for example. Foster growth towards independence and self-efficacy, and encourage your children to own and take responsibility for their choices. Take smart risks and learn from achievements, but don't forget, sometimes there's the failure, and it too can be an amazing learning process. And I think it's important for the kids to know that it's okay to fail sometimes, but to get back up and start over and start working towards success. And focusing on meaningful occupations and fields of work, look at them and review the occupational description by looking at the occupational descriptions. You need to, they need, not you, they need to find the related information, including working conditions, comparing earnings and wages, examine educational requirements. And we've got some websites where you can actually go and start doing this. It's not, it's actually a fun occupation and a fun thing to do. And help your child do an information interview or job shadow with someone in the field. In grade 9, for example, they take your kid to work. That's a first step. They should be volunteering, doing a co-op course, as I've already said, and I keep repeating, and explore similar and related occupations, so that if the first choice really doesn't pan out, the courses that have already been taken, for example, can apply in a related occupation. And ensure that they use the many resources and sources for education and career information. And these are the sites that I was talking about. OSCA.ca, careercruising.com, My Blueprint, we've already mentioned. Subject teachers can be consulted, guidance counselors are willing to be available, guidance and library displays, friends and family. Everyone's got some family somewhere. Tap them, find out what they're doing and how they got there. Post-secondary school calendars, high school visits, for example. All of these are really valuable. Ontario universities and colleges, go there, see the site, because sometimes you get a feel for the place, and that, you know, that can make all the difference in the world to success and failure. And trade fairs, they're there, their job centers are around, they have them, schools have them, take advantage of them. Fall and spring open houses at post-secondary institutions and any event that they're having. If they've got a campus tour on, go and check it out. Take the time, it's well worth it. Employment centers and job fairs I've already mentioned. And Ontario School Counsellors website, this is a one-stop resource. I can't talk highly enough about this site because it really will link you to all sorts of interesting information. Once you get on there, you won't want to get off, guaranteed. And making decisions and setting goals, how do you do it? Well, narrow it down to the best options. They should be weighing their best choices and possibilities in accordance with strengths, interests, values, and personal style. They should be selecting and identifying their best choices. This is the decision-making and research component. And it doesn't have to be a pedantic sort of thing. It can turn into a fun activity. Make decisions and pursue them. Set short and longer term goals. Not all goals are long term, short term, medium. One goal can be just completing the semester. Help your child to review and adapt their goals in the light of new opportunities, new information, new personal knowledge about what they like and what they don't like, and how they're progressing in terms of their transferable skills. And support their freedom to have changes of mind and heart. Don't make up their minds for them. It's not your life, it's theirs. And you have a very big influence on it. But in the long run, you want them to be happy. I know you do, and safe. So avoid letting your own bias or expectations determine their decisions, But don't forget, a hands-off approach is not the solution. So it's that balance, parents. It's that balance.
And our fourth dimension is students ask, what is my plan for achieving my goals? And so, as we have already explained, not only is it enough to have goals, you need to make a plan on how you're going to carry those goals out. And to support that, in Ontario schools, we have a program, activities called Individual Pathways Planning, the IPP, used by students from from kindergarten to grade 12. But from grade 7 to 12, they do it online. And you can help your young people, your children, with their planning, and it's looking not only at occupations, but also other things that they set as their goals in extracurricular activities, hobbies and leisure activities, and finances there too. So throughout all of this, they want to be developing the skills that are needed in the 21st century. Especially we want to emphasize the importance of being creative, innovative, and ready to take on entrepreneurial pursuits. So part of it is keeping the options open, knowing what the entrance requirements are, making choices that will lead to many opportunities. A lot of talk nowadays about the importance of keeping your math and science courses, because those are the gateway to many other opportunities in technology, engineering, and so forth, and science. But the extracurricular activities are very important also. In a previous talk about scholarships, they look not only at the marks people are having, but they look at what other things they have done in terms of their contribution to their community, to their school, to their neighborhood, what kind of leadership they have performed, what kind of volunteering work they've done. So really in the whole process, it's important to look at what's the next step that they want to take and to learn from it. It's not making one decision for the rest of your life. You're constantly they're making decisions every day and learning from them. It's the reflection piece of keeping time, stopping from time to time and looking back and saying, okay, what have I learned from this? And then how do I move on to make other goals for myself.
And now we're coming to our conclusion. And what we'd like to point out to you is a few career myths. The myth is the way it is supposed to be. You finish high school, you choose a post-secondary program, you finish the program, you get a job, you go to work, and then you retire and play golf all day. But this is the way it is for most people. Mishmash all around the mulberry bush here. You finish high school, you choose your secondary program, you may or may not finish, you take a year off, you go back to school, the work that you're in changes, it becomes more computerized, so you take more courses, and you keep moving on and moving on until you retire and you still play golf. And so parents, here's your changing role. Reinforce their career and life planning goals, help them understand who they are, what they're good at, what they like and dislike, and keep affirming their positive qualities. Now, I think this one went in the wrong direction. Here we are. You're facing a complex, fast-changing world. Be involved in their education and career life development. Talk about what you do, why you dislike what you do, how you decided your career and your life journey. And I'm sure they probably know a lot of it, but make sure they know the right parts. Encourage them to explore their opportunities broadly and deeply. But again, don't be a sort of helicopter kind of parent. Let them think they're doing it. Help them choose their best choices to give direction in setting and achieving goals. And don't forget, plan B, include having a backup plan. And you might even need plan C, by the way. Pay attention to their mental and emotional well-being. In all of this is another thing that you've got to think about. And help them deal with stress, discouragement, anxiety, and help them with coping mechanisms. Don't feel that they can do this on their own. During some of these more stressful times, some extra support might be necessary. And don't forget, I've said it already about 2 or 3 times, you are their most important influence and support. Here are the resources that we've used for our presentation, and we find that they're very, very helpful. We hope you will too. And we've suggested some conversations that you might want to start with your child. For example, you like to play basketball or some other sport, blah, blah. What do you like about this activity? And listen to what they say, okay? What do they like? And it is what they like and what they feel that they have learned from it. They might like the competition. They might like the teamwork, etc. And reinforce and affirm. What's on your to-do list today, you might ask. Would you like some help and support? This will help them be supported by you in their decision making. And as you look back on this past week, you may mention, or year, or month, what are some of the things that you were proud of? And reflection on the past gives insight into what is important and motivates them to do more good and better things. So in all, be a good, patient, and active listener.